It's day 311.
of the 29th year and beyond.
And unfortunately for us, due to some severe storms, our power has been knocked out.
Yes, it has. And so I thought we would talk about what happens when the power or the electricity goes out in your marriage.
Okay. What happens when you have a blackout in your marriage?
Ooh, yeah, sometimes I wish we had had a blackout, but anyway. Just saying. I feel like, from my personal experience, when you lose power in your marriage, or when there's a loss of connection, or there's a loss of energy, or when you can't communicate, these are all signs that there is a little blackout or a little.
There's a breakdown in the communication. Yeah. And I get that. Just as we're not receiving power to be able to communicate with the fact that our lights need to be on and our air conditioning.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I get that. So, what are some of the things that would you say are the causation?
Well, for me personally, it was always a lack of communication, or when I didn't feel I was connected with you, or you didn't understand, or I felt like, keyword, I felt like you didn't understand where I was at, or where I was coming from, or what stage I was in. A lot of times this came around childbirth and pregnancies, but it's also during times when I think you're growing. So when you may be transitioning from one thing to another, there is a growth process that goes through that, and a lot of times the other person isn't on board, or you haven't even shared enough for them to be on board with you.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that during those times of growth and transition, because I can recall at different points you were saying that, you're not telling me anything.
Right.
And, or I feel left out.
Yes.
And one of the things I would tell you,
You remember.
of course I remember, but one of the things I would tell you, because it was just the truth from my perspective, I'm sharing with you what I can based on what I'm privy to. When there are opportunities where there's transitions and transformation happening in one's life, sometimes you're not in a place where you can fully articulate it yourself yet.
Right.
So it makes it more challenging to be able to try to explain it. But in the process, just like you said, there is that disconnect, because it's like, okay, you're doing new stuff, or you're in a different place, and you're not letting me in, and I would let you in if I knew where the door was. So you understand that, okay, that would definitely be one of those power failures, if you will, where the disconnect can occur.
But what I felt was just like when the lights got
Right,
Yeah.
all of a sudden.
yeah, and it was just like you were shutting me out. You weren't sharing, and like I always say, that's why, from my perspective, that's what I was feeling.
Right.
And so, when you have those moments when you just can't seem to quite connect to what your spouse is going through or dealing with or whatever, I would tell you, and I would suggest to you, take a minute, step back, and think about what's going on and all that's going on, the totality of what's going on, and then come back and revisit it again from another perspective. Because initially, when it happens, there's so many emotions going on, especially as a female. You're angry, you're sad, you feel lonely, you feel a lot of different things. You feel just sort of open.
Well, and I think that's good advice as far as like stepping back. What I would also say is, for the one who may be observing like a transformation of their spouse, also, as best you can, be patient, because again, it does no good to communicate something that one may not know how to fully communicate, and that will only muddy the waters, as it were.
That's right.
Make things more confusing. So, as soon as you're able to articulate, by all means do. But for the one that needs that explanation or that understanding, try to be as patient as you can, because it's frustrating for you when you feel like you're out of the loop. It's frustrating for the one who's in the loop, who is clueless about the loop.
Yeah. So just like when the power goes out in your house, you need to power down a little bit, and don't open the refrigerators. Don't expel any
Extra
unnecessary
energy. There you go.
Exactly. Because eventually the light will come back on.
Yes, And until tomorrow, if the Lord says the same.
Bye.